During that whole process, the American military and the American military medical establishment went into Haiti, and what we found is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere that is in absolute dire need of every resource that we can give. So in that 6-month period of time that I was there with the Fleet Hospital, we saw about 26,000 Haitian nationals doing humanitarian assistance missions. We were able to, in fact, help with those families and give care, and it was one of the most exhilarating and defining missions that any of us from a medical point of view have been on. Defining in this regard. The first thing is we had never had the opportunity to see 3,000 and 4,000 people descend upon approximately 250 corpsmen, doctors, nurses, and other health professionals to get care. The second thing is we saw everything. There's no disease that you can name that we didn't see. Leprosy, malaria, cancer, HIV, anything, all the infectious diseases, all the parasitic diseases, schistosomiasis, everything you can imagine we would see. And the third thing is this. We had to give the care that we were capable of giving or the patients needed there. In other words, it wasn't about, well, I'm sorry, your case is too much for here. Why don't you make an appointment and see me Thursday? So as a surgeon, I operated under trees and I operated in all sorts of different conditions. And the reason was, if I didn't do what I needed to do then, the patients didn't get it. So they either died or they went ahead, but there was no second chances here. What we found was that military medicine, with all of its talk about war and about warrior care, and by the way, I'm not shying away from that. I'm a member of the Armed Forces of the United States. That's what we do. But we also do something else, and there's a new dimension, and you need to know this, and it's a real dimension, and it is a strategic imperative at the highest levels of our government. And that's called humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, because what we in the United States have found is that we have no problem in winning the war, but we often find ourselves having a great deal of difficulty in winning the peace. And what we found is with the soft power of medical care through humanitarian assistance, we can do more in terms of winning the hearts and the minds, but also making a difference in people's lives on a very personal way by delivering the care that we can to them in their own homes, meaning in their own terrain and in their own areas. So that tour I had in Haiti was really a defining tour. And since that time, the United States has embarked upon multiple humanitarian assistance missions involving both the USNS Comfort, the USNS Mercy, and the USS Kearsarge, the USS, many other LHAs and LPHs that have gone forward to make sure that we can give care. I'd like to end this particular portion on a couple of notes that I think are important. Number one, should you join the military? I don't know. That's your decision. But you need to know what military medicine has to offer, and the only thing that I ask you to do is don't decide you don't want to do something until you have the full facts about what it can do for you and for your family. So you need to have that information. Number two, can you be successful? Are you going to be successful? I have no idea. You're the people that will make your own success. You cannot be limited by test scores. You cannot be limited by anyone telling you you can or cannot do things. You have to go forward. If you don't get into medical school the first time, you have to apply again. If you need to get more training, if you need refresher training, if you need more remedial training, go ahead and get that, because that's going to get you in medical school. Number three, what does it take to be successful? I think it takes three things. I just told a high school group, and I'm going to tell you. I think it takes professional competence. That's getting prepared. That is getting an education. That is doing whatever you need to from a professional point of view. I think that is making sure that you're personally prepared. Personally prepared means that you take care of family and those things that mean a lot to you as individuals. And if you think that gets scheduled because you just think it's going to happen, you're wrong. If you don't put that in your day and if you don't plan for it, it will not happen. And the last thing you need to do is be spiritually aware and awake. And that means this. It means that you need to know that there is something in life larger than you, and you need to make sure that you are paying attention to that, because it is not not all about you, or it is not all about me. It is all about other things. It's all about us. And that's why humanitarian assistance, I think, particularly from my medical professional's point of view, makes such a huge difference. The last thing is this: service. This is a great country. This is a great state. This is a great city. One of the things that makes it great are you. One of the ways that we continue to be great is to make sure that we individually give back something of ourselves to our communities. Now, you can put this uniform on and you can certainly serve in that capacity, but you can also serve on the local, on the state, on the national level. You can serve by volunteering. You can serve by joining AmeriCorps or the Peace Corps. You can serve by joining the Public Health Service or many other activities or agencies. But the key is that you need to make sure that you are giving back something of what you have gotten from this country and from your communities. And if you do that, it's not only going to improve your life and make you a more rounded and a better person, but the big thing is it's going to make our nation highly successful. Now with that, I'd like to stop and offer up an opportunity for you to ask me questions. I have several people in the room as you look around that are going to be at the fairs this afternoon. One of them is my aide there, Lieutenant Hall. Lieutenant, would you raise your hand, please? He's taking notes. He's keeping an eye on everyone. He'll have your name. That's particularly true if you ask me questions too hard. If, in fact, you want to get in touch with me, the people around the room can help you do that. I also have cards. But what I want to do is, and by the way, if there's an answer that I don't know, please, someone around the room, please, I don't mind sharing this because I don't know all the answers. But with that said, I'm going to open it up for you. So what questions do you have? Yes, sir. The question is, how long is the obligation if you decide to go to, if you decide to become through the Health Profession Scholarship Program? And the second thing is, what is your rank when you come in? The obligation, if you do the 4-year period, is usually about 4 years. It's usually year for year. That varies. It depends on the amount of postgraduate time that you give, et cetera. So that can go up and down. But to answer your question in general, it's a 4-year obligation. The rank that you come in with from the Navy's point of view is called lieutenant, which is the same as a captain in the Air Force and the Army. It's what's called an 03, but you would be a lieutenant. Yes. The question is, if your prior service, will that be taken in consideration? The quick answer is yes, absolutely, that will be taken into consideration. Yes. Yes, ma'am. The question is the humanitarian and assistance and disaster relief an actual program, or is it something that you do? It's actually, I'm going to answer it this way, it's actually both. But the key here is that humanitarian assistance and disaster relief are actually talked about at colleges and universities and medical schools. There are places that, including Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, that have departments that deal with disaster medicine. So the answer is, from an academic point of view, that actually is a discipline that's growing, and it's growing very quickly. From a military point of view, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, particularly from the Navy's perspective, has become a strategic imperative. And the reason for that is, and it's something that we do, it's physicians, nurses, dentists, medical service corps, optometrists, podiatrists, all sorts that get together. One of the reasons that we do that in the Navy is because we have platforms, we have places that can go in, and hospitals that can actually go into areas, and so we are self-sufficient as we go in. Normally, when you go into a disaster or into a ravaged nation or a nation that needs humanitarian assistance, the infrastructure is either very weak or it may not even be existent, so you're going to have to come in with a stable base. So the Navy can do that.